Welcome to group practice, writing logic statements. In today's lesson, we practice writing different kinds of logic statements, and we use symbols to describe those statements. And the most basic of those symbols are the first two that I wrote here. If P, then Q, and that's the way it's read, where P is the hypothesis and Q is the conclusion. Now, this should be in your notes from the Nearpod today, so you should have your notes out following along. Then you know that the other symbol that was new to most of you was this tilde symbol. You can see the blue arrow pointing to it. You're going to find that on your keypad right next to the number 1. So if you look across the numbers, look all the way to the left, and you should see a tilde right there. And when you're typing in Cami, that's where you're going to find the symbol to type. And you read it as not P, or you read it as not Q. Okay, so let's go on and do some practice. I'm going to do a few statements for you just to get you started on the assignment. The first statement is, it snows when it's cold. So what you need to do is pull out what's the hypothesis and what's the conclusion. Well, if we start with, they're talking about it snowing. So that's our hypothesis. It's going to snow. Well, when does it snow? It snows when it's cold. So the hypothesis is it snows. And the conclusion is, well, when does it happen? It happens when it's cold. Okay, so I'm going to label those parts, and I'm going to insert the if-then part of my statement. So the first part up here, you see, P is it snows, and Q is when it's cold. So I inserted an if. If it snows, then what? It is cold. Do I need the word when anymore? No. I'm just going to say then it's cold, because that's the conclusion. It's cold when it snows. Okay, so I now know what my if-then is. So the others are relatively easy to write. I mean, if I underline this and I say, this is my P, and over here, this is my Q, then my converse of the statement is, now notice I still have an if and I still have a then. The only thing that changed is the P and the Q's location. If it is cold, then it snows. So the red and the green switched. The inverse we read as not. Okay, now that's a little awkward. So if I go back up here and it says, if it snows, then it's cold. Well, I'm just going to stick the word not in there. If not it snows, then not it is cold. And that makes no sense at all. Even though all I did was I put that not in there. So I need to make it make sense. If not it snows. What's another way of saying? If it doesn't snow, then what? Then it's not cold. So you just need to make your sentence make sense. And you can still underline the parts. You can see that this is, it snows, and it snows is still there. You just put the word not in front of it. And then this one, it is cold. So that's our conclusion. Okay. The next one would be, notice the connection. The connection is going to be from here to here. So converse is in this order. Converse is if Q then P. Contrapositive is again if Q then P. So we're going to take this one and we're going to stick the word not in front of it. Okay, so let's do the same. Contrapositive. We're coming back up here to converse. If not is cold, then not it snows. And I need to make that make sense. If it is not cold, then it doesn't snow. So just say it in words that make sense. So here again, this is the P part is here, and the Q part is here. So you can see the letters on the side really help you keep this straight. And if you just practice writing the sentence exactly the way it is by popping in the word not, and then saying, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. I have to say it so it actually is clear and easy to understand. All right, let's try one more. Number 2, all members of the basketball team are over 5'10". So the condition for you to be a member of the basketball team is that you are over 5'10". So the P is this part, all members of the basketball team. Then you're over 5'10". So let's write that as an if then. If all members of the basketball team, then over 5'10". And that doesn't make any sense, does it? So all I did was I just went here and I said, you know what? This is going to be my if part, and then this is going to be my then part. but that just doesn't make sense. So sometimes if you put the word you in there or they in there, it makes more sense. So if you are a member of the basketball team, then you are over 5'10" tall. Okay, or if they are a member of the basketball team, then they are over 5'10" tall. Now it makes sense. So we took that one statement and we just made it make sense. Okay, the converse, same thing we just talked about. I'm going to take whatever is sitting here, that green part, and I'm just going to move it over here. So if they are over 5'10", then they are members of the basketball team. Okay, the rest you should be able to do on your own because the only thing you're doing is switching up the P and the Q and sticking in the word not. Now there's one other that gets a little confusing, and I went down to number 6. I thought we would go over this one. All right, so number 6. This is a little confusing because it has the word if in it. So a person is a Scorpio. How do you know they're a Scorpio? Well, if they're born between October 24th and November 21st. So this is the hypothesis. If you are born between those dates, then you are a Scorpio. So your conditional statement would look like this. If you are born. So when you see the word if like that, even if it's in the middle of the sentence, that's your P. So let's label that P. And then our Q would be down here. Then that person is a Scorpio. And that's my Q. Okay, so when I write my statement, I always write an if then. If they are born between October 21st and November 1st, what? Then the person's a Scorpio. So now that you know that this is the P and this is the Q, you can use that to finish the rest. Okay. Any questions, please ask. Please feel free to ask. And don't forget to work with each other and make sure that no one submits their work until everybody in your group is done. Okay. Have a great day.